And I think because, like, I'm going to go back to it, being a Black woman, talking about Black men, we have taught Black men that, you can't show emotion. Like I said, Mama D already addressed that. You can't show emotion. You can't talk about who hurt you. You can't be vulnerable. And I'll never forget, one of my mentors told me, he said, it's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, Alea. You just have to know and make sure that you are with a person that's safe for you to be vulnerable with. We can't be vulnerable with everyone. And so I even if you can't get a hold of the youth because they're going through their childhood, they're not communicating what's going on. But let me just speak to like some of the adult men here that may have suicidal thoughts, or you can spread this message. If you can at least get someone to feel safe to start to communicate what happened. Like, if communication, there's healing in communication. It's that simple. You have to talk about it, but you have to become comfortable and feel safe for you to be vulnerable to say, check this out. This is what my brother did to me. I was in a relationship with someone who was really toxic, but he was toxic because his sister molested him for like 5 years of his life. Like, it happens to men and we ignore it. We only speak about women, but there are young boys that have been molested just throughout their childhood. And so they grow up messed up. And then this is where these toxic relationships and these schizophrenic behaviors begin. And so I think if we could start changing our message, to just start changing the culture, to start like embracing the fact that it's okay to communicate. It doesn't
communication is the key. You ain't no pump, you ain't no sucking.
That you feel broken about something your mother did, your grandmother did, your dad did, your father did. You have issues. And so I just think that's always been ignored. It's always been easy to talk about the broken woman, but it's
you gotta talk about your guys.
To really talk about the broken man. And then how do we get him to be healed? Because we need our men, because that's what it starts with. And so I just think like the simple form of walking that process out is communicating and showing people how to cope. So once they learn how to cope, they can learn how to deal with the disappointments that life will bring.
Yes.
Life does bring disappointments.
Amen.
I just wanted to just point that out.
Girl.
Hey,
you hit the nail on the head when I
think another queen wanted to speak in there. We gotta go with brother RL.
Yes. It was on me. I was at the room.
Okay, and then we'll go to RL. Then I hear Liz mic moving. We'll get to it. Sort of. We got a little order going right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna start writing down the list right now.
I appreciate you, Saya. So go ahead.
I just wanted to share that, like, my mom did foster care my entire life. She actually started with her first child about 4 months before she had me. And I learned the more familiar that we are with separating the family and giving, like, showing these children to the parents, to, people in the family, that somebody else has an authoritative action over separating your family. And everybody just spends a lot of time trying to find out what's wrong with them or their family before just trying to work on a solution. And I agree a lot with the pastor had just said about coping, because a lot of that
coping is serious.
Would have helped to straighten it out before it gets so long. Last night we were talking about this in a relationship between men and women, but you just made a valid point that made a reference to this. You go through your whole life with these traumas and you continue to go. And then once you're 30, once you're 31, once you're almost 40,
ooh,
now
that's that mark of the beast.
A lot harder because you never
learned how to
cope or correct them before.
You're a grown up.
And I teach financial literacy, so it's really hard when I see a man that's coming into an office and
fucked up financially.
He's, trying to get his taxes or whatever done, but he's really telling you that he doesn't know where to begin, all because alter our life, so far in the beginning. And then we spend a lot of our time distracted, whether it's with drug abuse or, incarceration, but all of that happens. And then, it's just not any, it's never a fixed situation, because even when they come home from jail, it just sets a record of more trauma. So it's just like, if we learn how to cope and then, focus on making healthy solutions, because it's always how we perceive the problem, we can have a better outcome.
That's pretty
and
dope,
I just
Mike.
hope that we just learn how to focus
Now
more on
we're
better
using our
outcomes,
resources
because
like we're supposed
this is
to.
something that with us, it starts from the root. And because they're doing it and attacking us at such a young age, like the contemplation for suicide is amongst so many different reasons that it's just like, that's dangerous within itself, because we shouldn't be having to think about those type of things
Exactly.
in our environments. And
I think about that between I got two nephews, brothers that bottle too much shit in. My dad was in foster care, my uncles, all of them.
My foster mother to this day, her name is we call her Auntie Esther. She was a black woman, and she, and it's crazy because she was going through her own divorce, and she had, her own son.
Oh yeah, this the game speaking right here. Game recognized game.
Ended up, incarcerated for life. So again, man, my foster mother was going through, her stuff, and still,
stories I've seen. Woo, gotta give me a hat.
Being parent for us, and I'm very thankful that I was placed in her home versus anywhere else, because I turned out pretty much okay. A lot of my foster brothers, I got three foster brothers, two Hispanics and one white one. One is a meth addict and two are dead. Mexican gang members. And then, her grandson, Ronald, is, doing life in prison. So it's just, man, it's just crazy, man, that even with, like you're supposed to take, the plan is to take a child out of a toxic home and put them into a safe place. But even that was even more, damn near more toxic than mine, because of the things that she was going through with her family. Her damnness. So I appreciate your mom and her and foster moms that do the Lord's work.
Hell yeah.
Every day out here. So
hey, bro, quick question, bro. Were you upset at your mom for like you guys going to the foster care and all of that stuff? Like
Yeah,
not being there for you.
I went through a point where I was upset at my mom, but I had to. Again, man, my mom fought for me day in and day out to get me back. And I was at 8 years old, nigga. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whose fault it is, or I just know that I was taken from my home and put into a police car and then taken to BCW, and then from BCW to a foster home and to another foster home until I found one. One that sort of fit me. It was a strenuous process, and it wasn't just me; it was me and all of my siblings. And I'm one of 15. So you got to think.
There we go. That's even doper. I love learn something new every day.
As a senior in high school, I put a gun in my mouth. I walked into my parents' room and I tried to pull the trigger. They put me in a padded cell. It's funny because it was the day of my finals. And I'm a middle child.
Wow.
My brother isn't my dad's biological son, but he took care of him since he was 13 months old, and then I have a younger sister. And I'm a middle child, so I guess maybe I became an artist because I wanted attention. But I know why I became a writer. It's because I realized that words were so powerful.
They are so powerful.
Beaten, because certain wounds heal and others don't. To be told you're not gonna be shit, and things.
Oh well, I was never told that I got that ass beat. I took the beatings hard, tough.
There's not.
That makes sense.
Alcoholism and things like that. Where
makes sense.
You have meetings for that. Free. But
my mom didn't talk down enough.
Psychologists or anything like that usually cost, and in our community, it's looked down upon. There's not I'd say a week that goes by, and I think people think because of the success or because of things that I've accomplished in my life, it changes. And the actuality of it all is, it makes it worse. And I'll tell you why. I'm big on reassurance. I'm big on affirmation. And because of who I am and what I've accomplished, people assume that I have that all the time. So they don't give it to me.
Preach, brother.
So
wow.
So he know he this or he hears this all the time. Shouldn't be. I don't hear it at all. But what I think happens in our community is we're told to keep family business in the house, and we think, and that's the fool us, that we think everybody lives like we live. It took for me leaving the country and visiting other cultures and seeing the world to realize that was some bullshit. Everybody ain't as dysfunctional as I thought.
Nope.
You know, we would functionally know how to live in dysfunction. So if we not
be comfortable being uncomfortable
outside our home, they don't need to know our business. They don't need to know we're struggling. They don't need to know that this is going on. And the reality of this is Clubhouse has been amazing. You know, people can connect, get money, that's cool. But the communal support that you can get from just conversing with one another and going, oh shit, you had that too?
Right.
Too? Well, I did this. What did you do? Truthfully, it's going to take us building each other up. And cultures, as well as ourselves, have pitted us against each other, woman versus man. And guys, I can't go to my homeboy and be like, man, I'm going through with my girl, and he put my head in his lap and he rubbed my waves. That ain't what happens.
No.
So we don't have the support system women have. We pacify our pain. Oh, man, I got this chick, she got this girl, she had this homegirl. Oh, let's go to the strip club, or nigga, let's smoke this, let's drink this. Women have seemingly, and I don't want to say, I can't speak for all women, but you guys support each other and y'all can really be there, no makeup, sweats, crying.
Right. Y'all do
this
too.
Hug that nigga bitch, and then y'all cool, y'all build each other up. For us,
yeah, we do.
Pacifying. So in a lot of ways, we're in pain and we're hurting, and we don't want to tell somebody that's going to view us as weak. And then we got the homeboys that we might mention it to, and we don't know how to deal with it because generationally we've never dealt with it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So and it's not, and that's why a lot of women end up with a damaged man and feel like, oh, I gotta repair this nigga. We're all damaged, but a lot of it is from the home. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this conversation that I came up because I'm gonna be honest, I feel pain all the time. I feel inadequate. I've dealt with low self-esteem since I was 5 years old. There are times that I've had to realize I gotta find something to live for, or God will bring a blessing into my life. I'm a warrior. That's what I do. Everything's my responsibility in my mind. My mama, my daddy, my sister, my son, my daughter.
Word rats.
God bless me with a little redheaded 4-year-old. So I looked at her and I have to understand the only way she's gonna see what's right and wrong is if I live and the way that I live. Now I'm gonna still mess up, but truthfully, we have to, and I hate to say it like that, we have to find reasons within ourselves to keep going because I've struggled with that at the height of my career, and it won't stop. You know what I'm saying? So we as a community, these kind of discussions and being able to say, look, I be hurt. Should I be having doubt? A lot of times we deal with it with aggression, you know, or to cover up the emotions we have. But men are the most insecure creatures in the world. Let's just be honest. That's why we lash out. But that's pretty much it. I know I'm bantering on. I appreciate y'all listening to me.
Man, that was dope, bro.
Hey, RL, may I piggyback off that? This is Shagun talking. And one of the things that you said that really just jumped out to me is that as men, we are raised competitively, not collaboratively. We are raised in almost everything that we do, whether it's a sport, you got to be the best. You got to be the flyest. Look at our men today, right? We stunt. We show off. We do these things in competition with other men and even ourselves. So the feeling of inadequacy is something that is almost intrinsically in so many of us men, stronger that we seek for.
My favorite color, blue.
Times that we can't even recognize it in our women. But let's take it to what the brother RL was talking about in our homeboys. How do you open up and bare your soul to somebody else who ain't never been taught how to do that as well?
Damn.
Now, I can tell people how I was raised in my African family, Nigerian, how there are certain things that we do not do. We don't cry. You hold it in, you internalize it. That's what real men do. They don't cry. I remember my aunt telling me that, Shegun, you cannot cry. This was when my grandmother passed away. Real men don't cry. I was 7. Okay? So the things about it is we have to learn how to heal and start getting better. And I'll be honest with you, for me, it was seeking out people that I felt I could open up to. Because honestly, that burden becomes too much to carry, too much to bear. So I would say to the women in the audience, you know, you see these men and you see men like myself or Game or RL, and you might see or check our bios and see the things that we're doing and say to yourself, I want a man like that. Understand that there is a river of tears and blood and
we
stuff
all
that
broken.
we have crossed
Mental
over
health.
or are still crossing over, trying to put ourselves back together again, because these pieces
have been oddly formed from the time we were kids. So the RL, I would say, just look for different homeboys, right? And to any audience, look, if you are feeling a certain way and don't think the people you got in your corner and your circle will understand, you can find my DMs. Like I'm tired of hearing horror stories of men being broken and treating other men and treating women and even their children because they're just ill-equipped. It can be a conversation. I don't think people understand sometimes how powerful these words can be, these conversations, these opportunities.
Let's talk.
Not to just sit here and say, oh, I had a conversation with this TV host or this writer.
No,
or this
just a regular person.
To have a conversation with somebody that understands
been there, done
where
that.
you've been and wants to see you get somewhere better.
Yes.
Seek out new friends. I know the phrase is no new friends,
It's
but
need
honestly,
new friends.
if your friends do not serve you, if your homeboys are historical and not real, you've known them a long time, but they're not your real friends. Don't mistake the history and the past that you got for a better present and a better future. If they're not serving you and you can't really serve them because it's just not working, find new friends, because the last thing that any of us want to see or hear are looking at these statistics that the pandemic is talking about. Suicide is up, domestic violence is up, divorce is up, breakups are up. We have to start seeking a better tomorrow for ourselves that might be owning up to the problem and looking for like minds, because that's the only way I think we heal.
Yeah,
so
I feel that.
That's my piece.
I received that piece, brother. Thank you.
That's the same number as yesterday.
Let me say something to you.
I
feel you. I mean, you know me, man. I'm a great fan of you speaking in all of these rooms, and you're my brother outside of this app and have been for a very long time. Whether we talk every day or not, I got the utmost respect for you. What I would do is to, because we're all here to add different perspective, and we're different men, and me walking in my strength, at my age these days, right? My new journey. I challenge you. Because and there's a small pushback on that, right? Because I have friendships that have flourished after the point where I could have, let's say, cut a brother off. One of my brothers is here. I don't know if he's still here, but I'll keep speaking. You got to understand this too, Brother Shagun. The friends who may not have had the strength to make it or let's say make it over those hurdles, right? As fast as you have, I don't know if I can just, give up on that guy yet, right? Because me and RL talked about, not me and RL, me and Rome talked about having the same type of situations growing up as a child, and RL just told you his, and I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna have their own story.
RL. That's RL from Next.
Have a story or things that he's been keeping in for 20, 30 years.
What was next?
Afforded
RL.
Position of, growth too. Should we, before Clubhouse, off of Clubhouse, after Clubhouse, should we start as men, right? As men, like me and you, me and RL, me and Rome, me and any brother on this platform, we should just go the extra mile from here on out just to check on, someone's mental health.
That's amazing.
Write off a bunch of, and I'm not saying this is what you were saying, like as a whole, but I'm saying me personally, I don't know if I can write off other brothers after even reading the topic and hearing being this early in the conversation in this room. I now have to even go a step further and sort of pull out the magnifying glass on my niggas' lives. You know what I'm saying? And ask them if they okay and offer solutions.
Ask them if they okay.
These niggas are just
they're not gonna say it.
I am hearing from. I would see RL and think, man, this brother always. Ever since I know RL, man, that boy got an edge up and a suit on. He look good every time.
But he fucked up in his head.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm a little bit more forthcoming with the gangster shit and my music, and his is, a little bit more R&B driven, and you know how that gets, and his fan base is, women and men who are, hopeless romantics and shit like that. He's not,
hey, that's my dude from the TV show.
So I would never know that he had anything going on with him that was relative to my life or my childhood. As a man, he's holding his shit. I'm holding my shit. And when I see RL, and like I have in the past, we run across each other quite a few times.
That's
a hug and appreciation of talent, and we move on with our shit. And he can't see my invisible trash bag that I'm fucking dragging on the ground that's too heavy, and I can't see his backpack that's weighing him down and damn near giving him scoliosis. This backpack of bullshit that he's been carrying for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, man. And so, yeah, again, Shagun, not to challenge you, but a little bit of pushback because your solution and my solution, we have to find a middle ground.
That's my dude from the list.
What if somebody gave up on me?
Oh, I'll see him at 7 tonight.
And what if,
no, I hear you, Gabe. No, I hear you. And again, I don't mind the pushback and the challenge. If I said it in a way that it sounded incorrect, let me try and clarify it a little bit better. What I'm saying, and the way I said it to RL is, yo, you can talk to me. I'll be that lightning rod. I'll be open with my stuff. So I'm not saying throw anybody away. What I'm saying is, if you are in that position where you're thinking of giving up, know that you don't have to do that. That you don't. Not only do you not have to do that, but there's somebody you can talk to. What I would say is that if you have friends,
clarify a little bit when you finish.
yeah, sure.
If you have friends that you don't think you can talk to, seek new friends. You can talk to me. Like I'll like to use RL's description. I'll be that person you can sit on the couch and I'm gonna say, baby, it's gonna be okay. Like we might do it virtually, but I'm gonna be that person that's gonna say it's gonna be okay. We're gonna try and find a solution. Because what we hear so much in our community as men is either I didn't have anybody I could talk to, or I didn't have anybody I think I could have brought it to. And so what I'm trying to say is you can bring that shit.
Hey, man.
You can lay that on my doorstep.
Assist Mike and listen, but it's going to cost you.
Can talk
Not
to
free.
me about what's going on. Because I'm
not going to give you that real shit.
That is not afraid to tell you my own problems, my own fears, and we can have a real conversation that won't be surface level.
Back and forth.
So if it sounded like I'm saying throw
references
your friends away or anything like that, or throw these people away that have problems, nah. If like in Ray, your slip is showing, I'm gonna say, hey man, it's
my references,
because this is what it looks like to me, and I'll correlate it right back.
But
and
I
say,
can tell you
man,
is
it looks that way to me
lies.
because I've been there. And if you want to open up, I got 2 ears to listen to and 1 mouth to offer advice. But I just don't want brothers to be out there in any way, shape, or form
struggling,
feeling like they are alone in this. Because until we all rise, none of us is really rising.
That's good, bro.
I appreciate that. That's good. That's what I wanted, brother. Just a little bit more clarification.
How beautiful this is.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna give it to the. And I think Dr. Liggett wanted to say something, but I just want to tell my brother Shagun
as well.
Oh yeah, I just want to tell my brother Shagun that I appreciate you for just taking the extra time to clarify that. I didn't want it to get lost in translation because if I thought it came off like that, I'm pretty sure that someone else did. And so you did a great job of coming back and straightening all of that out for me. Dr. Liggett.
Okay, can I jump on the list, please? Black Melons, real quick.
Yeah, I think there's
Can I jump on the list as well?
If you can say your name.
Yeah, Tech, I want to go after the queen, if you know that's person. That's
who is the queen who said
for all the sorry to cut anyone off, I don't want to do that. But for all of the doctors here, I appreciate you. Definitely all the psychologists.
Male suicide prevention.
One of my brothers, Tech, is going to speak after a few of the queens, and I think someone else. But and again, man, you in this room with me, and you're my friend, bro. And I already know where you're gonna go, or what you're gonna say, and this is perfect for you, man. And I'm glad, and I want you to be open, honest, and transparent because me and you have had conversations about this, and I'm glad that you're here. And I hate to shine a light on you, but we've been in some dark moments together, me and you, and I can't wait for you to vent, man. Got you, bro.
We had a couple young ladies who wanted to go after Dr. Liggett.
Yes.
Again.
It's Seneca. Hi, my name is Seneca. My 17-year-old daughter would like to speak after.
And I'm Leia.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll have Tech after that, and then Jessica.
You throw Steven in there as well.
Yeah, let me get on this.
I love it, man. I want to.
Yeah. Come on, like hand.
Chick-fil-A line of people that want to make testimonies.
Testimonies on the game.
This is so amazing.
Listen to what we talking live. Mental.
You got to thank Gigi for that, Queen.
When I tell you, this has been, and Mama, I don't mean to jump in, but I've known you 15, 20 years. We've worked together, but to hear this side of you,
Amazing.
I've only known Game the rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And this and RL, the same thing. I want to connect you two with Shanti Dawes,
who has Silence the Shame. You know RL, you know Shanti. So I want to make sure that you guys get together. There are so many people in the music business, quote unquote.
Anybody gonna sue me for anything? Guess what? It's gonna be for me spreading good goddamn word.
They don't come forward, and her organization is so incredible because it gives a voice.
Mm-hmm.
It is called Silence the Shame, and it is silencing the shame of the stigma of mental health and suicidal ideology, and it is amazing. I'm going to send both of you guys, RL, Candy. I know Candy and Lena are really good friends. Candy's one of my dearest friends in the world. I will make sure if you don't have Shanti's number that you get Shanti's number.
Yeah, we work together quite often. I know Shanti really well. That's good people.
Awesome. Please reach out to her because what she's doing in the community is so important and it is so incredible. And the more male voices that she has on this issue, I think it is there's a vulnerability that you all have shown today. I came in late. I heard RL. I heard Game. I am so proud from the deepest part of my heart. I'm in tears because I know how hard it is because men have this
So 450 people in this room.
masculine identity that they're not supposed to cry, that they're not supposed to have these things. And you do. And it is unbelievable to me that there's a platform like this. And Game, with what you and Gigi are doing, it's going to help so many people.
These platforms.
And I am so proud of you.
Dang.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. It took a lot to get to this point. We're gonna keep the order, and I think that Mama D, Dr. Liggett wanted to go follow, with whoever else. And again, this is not, it doesn't have to be a short conversation. If you want to speak, you will get a chance to speak. Let's just respect the list and the order because I know everyone has a lot to say.
Brother Game, this is Dondre. I'll fit in wherever you see fit, King.
All right, I appreciate you, brother. Dr. Liggett.
Also, Dr. Game, this is Pastor Jones. I'm on the line. I would love to share.
I definitely know Dr. Game. But who is that?
Dr. Game.
Dr. Game.
If you could also
Dr. Taylor.
Alea.
No, I'm speaking into the future, Dr. Game. This is Pastor Jones.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Game, I thought, can I say something, please?
Hey, you know what? Hey, everybody wants to say something because Sire got the list. I don't want to get overwhelmed with trying to remember names, but I do know that Dr. Liggett is next. I know that much, so I want to get to her, please.
Yeah, I got everybody's name. Perfect.
Mama D?
Okay. I'm here. Thank you. I'm patient, my babies. I got
It's
a lot
all
of people I can't see. I've developed a lot of patience over the time. But I want to say we've been talking about what is the answer? How can we help? How can we prevent? How can we intervene? And I think a lot of us have already tapped on it. It's community intervention. It's familial intervention. It's social intervention. It's connection. Interpersonal connection is the key. Having safe places to talk, to be vulnerable, to open up and be real. Not fake real, but real. And get down to the deep-rooted issues without feeling like you're going to be judged or somebody going to go tell your business in the street or just have any malicious intentions, but a community of people where you can open up and be real and talk about what's going on and talk about how can I help you? How can I be there for you? How can I check in with you? Hey, you want to go shoot some hoops? Or maybe you want to study together? Let me add you on the list as my accountability buddy. Can I text you late at night when I might be going through some stuff? Would you be open to a phone call if I'm going through it? That type of stuff is what's going to be important because the truth of the matter is I tell clients,
You see me for 1 hour, once a week, maybe every 2 weeks. And if your insurance is horrible, I only get to see you once a month. And then with that, most of our people are not even going to make it into a therapy room. So the real work and sustaining the help is going to take place in your natural environment, in your community where you live and grow and thrive. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, before anybody fed you back, I want to let everybody know that Seneca is next. I think that's how you say it.
We can go right into Seneca.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I am here. I have my 17-year-old daughter here who wanted to say something. This is Mackenzie. Mackenzie actually lost her best friend this morning to suicide. They're seniors in high school. It's been a very emotional day for us. So I'm just going to give my phone to her and let her say her truth, and that'll be it.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's right. Whitfield,
I haven't been here to talk, but I just wanted to speak a little bit about depression. And today I lost my friend, and he hung himself in the basement. And I just want to speak about how this year, our senior year, has been very depressing. I know some people have been going through other things, but just being on quarantine and not being able to have a senior year and graduate, do all the things that we talked about doing since we were freshmen, it's just depressing. We were just talking about planning a senior trip because we don't get a graduation and we haven't been at school. So we were just talking about, going out and doing things and trying to plan our own prom and still do things, still try to make the year great. And it really hurts me. It really hurts to find out that he killed himself, because I wish I could have really talked to him. And I just want to say, we never know what everyone is going through. And this year has just been really hard, especially on the seniors. And I just want to say, everyone, can you guys please check on the seniors, on the kids? Like, it's just been bad out. That's all. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And I'm sorry to hear about your friend. Teenage suicide. Oh man,
that's a whole new ball game.
We're talking about males, but again, I've had I got a 17-year-old too, and I asked him flat out because how we think we think everything's okay, and I definitely, when I was younger, and I won't be long in saying this, but when I was younger, I didn't. Shit wasn't okay. It wasn't okay, but nobody asked. Nobody even cared. It just, and I don't even know if they didn't care. My mom, she just is tough love. She just assumes that, my son is big, strong, he got it. But yeah, no one ever asked, man. And so me.
Can we just respond to this young lady first before we jump into somebody's conversation? I'm Jessica. I'm a therapist. And I just think we need to really validate and support this young lady before we jump on to somebody else.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Okay. And what was your name again, baby? 17. What was your name?
Mackenzie.
I want to use names. Mackenzie. Mackenzie, I just want to say I really appreciate your courage and your vulnerability in sharing your story with a room full of people. I am really, really, really sorry that you lost your friend today. That was really, really hard for you, I'm sure. And you're talking openly and bravely in front of all of these people. And I really hope that people can, DM you or support you in addition to just talking in this room. But it sounds like you have a really supportive mom, and I'm really glad that you have that support.
You like that, Jessica.
It sounds like you're also a really fan of advocacy and you want to support your other friends as well. Yeah. So I love that you really want to support your friends. I'm sure that you can form some sort of like chat or group with your friends when it comes to all of these topics.
Get me on the stage.
Having one person in your corner resiliency.
It's amazing.
Having that one person there for you does create resiliency. And it sounds like you have a really amazing, supportive mom.
I love therapy.
I love Mama D, and I'm sure she's going to piggyback on this. And so if she would love to do that, I would love to have her do that.
I got therapy next Wednesday, 1 week from today.
Basically, you said everything that I was going to say, but I got cut off in the middle of it. That was crazy.
Oh, just real quick.
I knew the game was going to talk about him getting cut off.
She's at the bottom of the room. She came to the room from her own phone. But she just wanted to say thank you. Here you go.
Thank you, guys. Sorry.
Can I say something to you?
Mackenzie, you've been very strong, beautiful, and the fact that you set up here and you were able to share that story with us, very strong of you. You went through a lot this morning. I'm sure you've been going through a lot. But the fact that you got up on your mama's phone and you said, let me tell my story, and you told it.
Giving these testimonies.
Big of you. You were strong and you were beautiful.
Gigi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gigi,
and you
baby.
know what? The strength that you're showing today, I know it's not over for you, gorgeous, but I want you to know the strength that you're showing today is the strength that you're going to show every single person, and you're going to be able to continue to encourage greatness in everyone. So I thank you for being a part of this conversation. And Mama, I asked that, of course, the information that some of us have in our boxes, and some more information that we're going to gather together here as a tribe, that we could take along with you, that you could take along with you and share it with baby girl, and so that she can share it with her friends and educate them and build this what is a sorrow moment into a triumphant moment going forward into beautiful souls, because a lot of our kids and a lot of our kids are struggling. So I truly hope that we can gain information and bring it outside so that she can be strong and she can continue to be courageous. And we thank you, gorgeous. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say something really quick?
I just want to say.
I know what you said. I want to add this piece really quickly.
Oh, is that Mama D? We're going to have you speak, Mama D. We're going to have you speak, and then we're going to go ahead and go back to Kasaya. I want to make sure everyone's voice is heard today as well.
So I just want to say really quickly, Mackenzie raised her hand. That way people who want to DM her can help her. If you guys could pull her to the stage, that way she can get her own DMs.
Mackenzie, can you tell us how to spell your name, love?
Makenzi.
I just invited her up, y'all.
There you go. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, Mama D.
I was just going to quickly say, I agree with the fact about you being strong, Mackenzie, and courageous for speaking out here. But no, baby girl, you just lost your best friend. There is no reason why you have to be strong if you choose not to. If you want to be vulnerable and said, I need support and I need someone to help me and tend to my emotions at this time, I can't really help tend to the emotions of other people, that's okay too. Because this is a grieving process for you, baby girl. This is huge, and it's a complex, traumatic grieving process because of how your friend died.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you have to be the strong person. We get it mixed up when we compliment people by telling them you're so strong.
Nope.
Be careful with saying that, because sometimes people go throughout their life hearing you gotta be strong. You so strong. They taking care of everybody motherfucking else. See, I'm sorry, I'm getting on my I start to curse. But they self, and they don't have nobody taking care of them. They don't have nobody checking in on them. I'm passionate about this. And these are the people that end up committing suicide. And these are the people that end up on drugs and overdosing.
Yes.
These are these people that end up breaking down and having psychotic breaks because motherfuckers is not checking on them.
All right, thank you, Mama.
Dr. D. Liggett. Mama D.
Something really quick.
And then we're gonna have Alea. So
no. Shanti does is in the room, so if you guys want to bring her up, I've got to step out for a meeting, but I wanted to at least get her in and introduce her to the conversation because of her organization. So I appreciate y'all's time so much and letting me speak.
Okay.
If I could briefly just
Yeah, if I could just briefly just say something, because I know we already talked about the tools as to helping people, deal with their depression, their issues, their hurt, and their pain. And I didn't want to just fluff it up, but I wanted to shed light on the fact that also everybody must understand. I just want to go back to male suicide, speaking about males and females too, but in the sense to where you have to understand the greatest tool for self-destruction is pride, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because once someone realizes that they have a safe community of people to begin to open up about what they have been struggling with, let's just be mindful of the, I don't want to say demons, but of the struggle, the burdens, what we're dealing with, because there's a whole lot of roots, right? That's why the Bible says you have to lay an axe to the root. We deal with branches, but we have to learn how to deal with the root. And I want to say this, there's a level of complacency that people have associated with their pain. So, I mean, in our hearts, we want to help people, but then we have to work on the fact that there are people who have become so complacent, so comfortable in the pain and the hurt, they don't want to get out of it. They don't know anything outside of that. They don't know how to have a level of peace. So you have to be mindful that there's a bigger spectrum than just the fact you getting someone to communicate with you. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware, like there's people who have those resources and they still are in this I don't want to say sunken place, but in a very broken place, and they don't really want to. They don't know how to live happy. They don't know how to live depression free. And so you're dealing with, and Mama D probably can shed light on that, you're dealing with something so much more deeper. And I always tell people, you're looking at the actions of a person, but let's go to the root. I don't want to hear he killed somebody. Tell me what drove him to that. And so we have to also understand, like, when we're dealing with people, don't just take it for surface based. You have to dig deeper, because although you might be looking like, I'm here, I'm a resource, I'm here to help you, you have to understand a lot of times these people they've carried this. They don't know how to let it go. And so when they don't know how to let it go, they're comfortable here. And I can only think about, and I don't want to take it like all the way this deep, but I think about when Jesus came to the man at the pool of Bethesda, and he was laying on his bed and he was complaining. He was like, I have nobody to put me in this pool so that I can get my healing and my miracle. And Jesus looked at him and he said, take up your bed and walk. You laying on the bed, why don't you take it up and just walk to the water? Nobody ever had to carry you. But people don't, when you are in pain, you don't see the fact that it's going to take you to be tired of this place. And that's the part that as counselors, as supporters, as advisors, as those who give guidance, we have to just be sensitive of. And that's just all I want to say.
You said a lot. Good job.
Kashaya, this was Brandy down here. Can I be added to? Can I also be added? Yes, so I got Brandy, and who else?
Trevor.
Lil Shot.
I'm not stopping
Will I be able to talk?
This is where they get into it.
Black mental mental health.
You have to say your name first, so I can write it down.
Lil Shot. Dr. Jeremiah Jones.
Okay.
Dr. Jeremiah Jones.
Dr. Taylor.
Little shot.
Dr. Taylor.
It's all good.
Pastor Jones.
Pastor
It's
Jones.
beautiful
I have,
that everyone wants to speak, but she
the
going,
list going, and we're gonna go next to Tech, and then after Tech, we're gonna have Jessica.
Keisha, can we get a run of the whole list just so we can kind of...
Kasaya.
Yeah, Kasaya. And so,
Damn.
so I'm going to say the list, and then if you aren't on it, you can just tell me your name, and then I'm going to add it to the end. So we have Tech, Jessica, Stefan, Rome, Andre, Pastor, Shiki, Brandy, Wishaw,
What? Yeah,
and then Trevor.
this
Did you have
Dondre? Okay.
Asaya, did you have Dondre on there? I know
he's after Rome.
Okay, cool.
Can you add Will Shot?
It's beautiful that everybody wants to talk.
Yeah, Will Shaw, you're
amazing.
right. No, it's LA Shot.
Okay, and Makiba, please.
Okay, Makiba after Trevor.
I'd like to talk to Dr. Daya.
They got it popping on here, man.
Let's state your name.
Oh,
Just
hold
state
on.
your
Let me
name.
get my shit together. I'm sorry, y'all.
Q Leon.
I'm over here. And heckling us. This is what
and also let's limit the pulling up speakers because we already got a long list, and so
Black male mental
gotta turn
health.
out the hand.
Christopher will go back to adding people on the list. It's kind of long right now, so we're just gonna go up to Tech, and then we're gonna go to Jessica, and then Stefan.
All right, let's make sure we.
Like 30 minutes.
What's your name? Just state your name.
Man, it been medicine.
Moment to speak.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you, guys. And this is going to be beautiful, you guys. This is a moment for us to really break this shit down. Talk, converse, let the shit out, gain. We have to get something here as a community so we can build outside. So testimonies are beautiful. Any resources are beautiful. Whatever we could gain that we could bring back to our uncles, our brothers, our cousins, our colleagues. Let's get it. Kasaya?
Hey, yo, before Sarah speaks, let me say, sort of read the rules of the room. When someone else is speaking, let's let them, finish totally and just have a quick second breath after before the next person speaks or before Kasaya tells you who's next on the list, because we don't want to cut anybody off in here, all right?
Yes, so we're going to have Tech go. Tech, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to hand the mic to you.
All right. First of all, blessings to everybody under the sound of my voice. I appreciate this platform. Gigi, Chuck, I appreciate y'all for always, having these platforms for people just to vent and get everything
it out their ass.
I guess my aspect is going to be coming from the mental health of the Army, because that's really where it came down to me. A little background. I was in the Army. Did 10-month tour in Afghanistan, and even before that, basically I was always everybody looked at me. I have like literally at least 20 to 25 people older than me, younger than me, that I literally mentor on a day-to-day basis. Words of encouragement, words of affirmation, whatever I can do to help anybody out. I'm the person that they call. So, me being the strong person, and I think it was Dr. Liggett that she said something about vulnerability. I did not know what that meant, because I felt like I had no room to be vulnerable, because at the end of the day, I have all of these people looking up at me and asking me this and doing so much for me. I didn't feel that I had no time, no room to be vulnerable, and I think that was a breaking point for me. So, I've never, like I said, I didn't been a lot of places. I didn't see a lot of things, from the street aspect, spiritual, all of that. And, particularly it was this one thing that triggered me one day, a while back. And, me being who I am, I just brushed it off. But then it just bothered me for like a week. And so finally, I've never even thought about taking my life. And then I had that thought, and just that thought alone was like, I'm ticked. Like, I'm used to being, I'm used to being who I am and doing what I do. So, I was fortunate enough to have a conversation. First of all, Chuck, Jay, the game, y'all know him. That's my big brother, man. He's been a mentor to me for the last 5-6 years. And I was fortunate enough, to reach out to him. And I texted him. And so I texted him what was going on, and like within 20 to 30 seconds, bro, FaceTime. And we talked about like you said before, me and him, we done been there for each other.
I can't find my phone.
Times of our life, and just me being a strong person, like, that's my mentor, that's my brother. So that's the only person that I could feel comfortable enough to explain it to what was going on. And after our conversation, it basically opened up my eyes to really look into it, because like I said, I never really looked into the aspect of it, me being a veteran and all, and it's common, it's very, very common for soldiers, serving now, and veterans to date to commit suicide, because it really boils down to the mental health aspect of it. Everybody, like the thing that was so alarming to me, like I said, bro, everybody is not strong. I thought that I was the strongest person in the world, to be honest with you. Everybody does until they get to that point. And so, I started looking into factors of it. PTSD, yes, I was diagnosed with it. I had that before I even joined the Army due to, gang activity in the streets.
The
so
streets.
I didn't really take into
you can't
account
tell us that we
that.
don't have PTSD.
That was really something that I had to look into for myself. And not only that helped me,
Amen, bro.
to take a step further in my mentorship to the people that I have conversations with. And, because at the end of the day, I feel like all it really takes is, you have to research for yourself. Is you find the problem, research it, do what you need to do to get to the root of that problem. And and after that, after I had after the conversation and really digging it and prayer definitely helped a lot. After that, and I can honestly say today I am in a way better headspace. I'm back to who I was before. That mindset that I had before. And I just want to say, like, especially Army veterans, all that, man. Hey, if you have to talk to somebody, communication is the key to anything in life. It doesn't matter who you talk to, just make sure you talk to somebody. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Amen, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
That was the whole truth. We appreciate you.
Man, check. Man. I remember that day, man, and I'm definitely we shared some dark times with each other over the last few years, man, and I'm glad that you're no longer in that space. I'm glad that I caught that text message before anything drastic took place or anything like that. And like I said, you mean a lot to me, man. And it wasn't like I know that we as men hold things in, and I could have took that text and text you back, brother, be strong, or something like that. But nah, man, when you mentioned thinking it was over and you couldn't take this no more, those are thoughts that
those are words.
That space, so I FaceTimed you immediately, and we got to a point where we both had tears in our eyes, man, talking. This is what we don't do enough as men. And I'm glad that I was able to share that moment for you. And I'm glad that moment has, that those feelings have passed. And I'm definitely gonna throw you flowers, man, for getting to a point today where you are, realizing that, you are strong and that you're a beautiful black brother, man. I'm glad to be your friend, man. That's all I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Tech. Yeah, from a fellow vet himself, I spent 26 out of 36 months in Iraq, so it does get hard. So I appreciate you and thank you for sharing the story.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Just so powerful in just the way you even said it. I did listen to a lot of people in the room. Next, I'm going to pass the mic to Jessica. I know we already did hear from you, so if you have nothing to add to that, we can go ahead and pass it to Stefan. Jessica, did you have anything to add?
I did, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So I wanted to mention a couple of resources, and then I also wanted to comment on the conversation between the game and Suicidal earlier. So a couple of resources that maybe y'all are aware of, maybe you aren't. So there's the Steve Fund, which you can text the Steve Fund. It's a resource for typically people of color college students. And then there's therapy for Black girls and therapy for Black men, and that's where you can connect with therapists of color in particular if you're looking to connect with somebody that feels like they understand your narrative. So I'm not sure if you're aware of those resources. I wanted to give those a shout out. And then I also wanted to just connect I guess between the game and Sagoon, because I think initially you're talking about what sounded like two different things, but I think combined the same story. And as I'm a therapist myself, I really understood both perspectives, but also
I'm sorry, I could have turned the thing that way to see what I was doing.
So
then y'all all in my business.
In my work, really try to identify, who is that one person that can be the person that's creating resiliency for you, which I mentioned earlier. And if there is, somebody that's that's there for you, that's supporting you. Oftentimes we think about men that like post breakup, for example, that gets hit harder. And I think Sagun was talking about you know, you need to find like your boys network essentially. So we find that like post breakup, oftentimes what happens is girls do have their people that they can connect with, and men don't, especially when they have had that girlfriend and that partner the whole time. They isolate from their boys more so. And so I think that that's just noteworthy, that to not so much lean into the relationship and to maintain those friendships, because that's when we actually find a spike in depression for men, is that they become more alienated post-relationship breakup, because they don't have their friends, and they feel almost like less of a man to admit that the breakups are really hard for them.
Ooh.
So I just wanted to comment on that.
It is. Good answer, boo. Valid point. Valid point.
I guess I can go next. This is Steve, by the way. Amazing conversation. Thank you guys so much for this. This is a topic that I wish more people spoke about openly on bigger platforms. It's something I've battled with myself. It's something I've watched friends around me battle with. It's powerful. Firstly, I do also want to acknowledge, Mackenzie, that what you're going through is something I have gone through myself. I know how you feel. I wish there's something I could do for you across the country, but if there's anything that you need, I'm sure everyone here resonates that sentiment as well. But feel free to reach out. I will do my own due diligence to reach out to you, and that's also the message I want to drop in today. Is it's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable. Especially as a man, it's hard to express your feelings in these sorts of situations, because you get used to this place where you feel like, I'm all right, I'm good, I did this, I'm fine, this thing happened to me, it doesn't bother me, I'm cool, I'm good. But we need to be better, men. We need to be better to ourselves, to our friends, to everyone around us. Just because today is not your day, today is not the day that you're struggling, it doesn't mean it's not the person next to you's day. No one is perfect. No one's walking around with no issues. We all have something. So at the very least, it's incumbent on us to bring ourselves, humble ourselves in a sense, to talk to people around us and make sure people are good. You never know. I was listening to the
not right now, Gary B.
Throwing people away or this, that, and the other, and obviously that's been cleared up. And I really want to say that as men, we pride ourselves in being strong in so many ways that I don't think matter. I think real strength comes in that confidence that you have to call your friends out and tell them, are you okay? If you're not okay, talk to me. Because I've also not been okay. I'm here for you. Like those are awkward conversations to have. Those are hard conversations to have. But those are the conversations that make a difference. And I was resonating with what Leah said about tackling the root. I understand that we're not all therapists here.
No,
I don't.
Not supposed to be all therapists.
Someone's issues from the start. I don't know people's past traumas, but I do think it's important to be that one person. When I was at my darkest hour, that one person that called me and almost made me feel like someone cared. When I was starting to go back, and I was wondering if anyone cared, if I just did what I had to do here, no one would know. That one person that reached out to me and just said, "Hey, like, you've been quiet," that made the difference. That made me feel like I was looking for something, someone. So I think it's incumbent on
mental game, and it all starts from birth.
Sometimes
we're
mental game.
We are beings of logic, and the only time we start to lash out is when it doesn't make sense. We can't comprehend it. We can't fathom it. When it comes to appealing to the emotion or the feeling, we're looking for comfort in all aspects. Even when we're joking with somebody, we're looking for someone who could take the joke as well as dish one back that ain't gonna piss me off. Like it's one of those aspects of seeing the man as a whole. But once you get to that, the root of whatever it is. Some people's is some men is financial. That instability is gonna drive them crazy. Some is there. Some is there. It's all, but they're all we put upon ourselves. No one can put on a man that which he doesn't take up, and he usually always compiling thoughts on top of thoughts, on top of stresses, on top of things that we're either never gonna say or no one's ever gonna ask because we're never gonna show it. Even in this room, I've heard more resolutions from women than from us, and me. I'm passionate about this because I want to see a rise in equality, where the equality doesn't have to be a movement. There's all of these different movements. There's not one for at least the black man. And I'm giving it to him because we're always in the mix of something, whether it be us getting killed by some other race or us doing the damage. We're always majority in the mix, and I don't think that's a matter of just wanting to be. It's a matter of us being obligated to each other. I'm obligated to every man in this room still listening. I'm obligated to you because if we all get an understanding, this room expands. It goes out and grabs more people outside of just this room. So the mindset of obligation as well as making sure they get to a place of vulnerability so that they can even see.
Oh, hyperbole. Hold on.
Is where we should strive for, and I challenge my men to step up more. Everybody in here, you're the one we're talking about. I'm the one they're talking about. We should be able to have this comfort right now to be able to speak on it. Just even a little bit from what you've thought mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I just want to challenge that out of the men.
Thank you. And we're gonna move forward, but I want to make sure I make note that we are challenging on our Instagram at the King and Gigi. We actually have a challenge, a call to action. When we post it, we will notify you guys for reposting purposes so we can make sure we bring this conversation and that call to action outside of the clubhouse.
Hey, real quick, I just want to let Brother Rome know when you talked about platforms or things that are for us black men in mental health. Brother Dondre has a club called Male versus Man. If you click on his profile, scroll to the bottom, you can follow that, bro. Got you. Can I ask my question? I think it's a list of Brother Dondre don't mind. Sure.
Yeah, and then after you add your point really fast, we are going to jump to Dondre and then to the pastor in the room and then to Shiggy.
Oh, for sure. I don't mind singing cue. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you, Gigi, Fox, Mama, everybody, Jasmine, for holding the space. I just want to chime in real quick. It's really easy sometimes to put the burden on yourselves, but I think it's really easy. I just want to put into one societal political aspect to it real quick, that capitalism and white supremacy have deconstructed us all big level. So we first talk about capitalism and colonialism. Men think we got to put on this hustle, this drive to provide, but at the same time, it's becoming insanely toxic. So when we neglect that space, we end up putting that burden onto women, and so there's just emotional. There's also this disconnect. So I just wanted to say that we as men need to make sure we don't project that shit onto other people. We as men need to start holding each other accountable and not making fun of each other or throwing the word fag around. Just stuff like that when moments occur. But I think once we start dismantling systems and we start analyzing that sometimes the things that bother us are systemic and societal, and we just need to make sure we isolate that as we analyze our triggers so we don't, end up deconstructing our souls and attacking ourselves and being super hypercritical, why me. But I think when we start assessing what the future could look like and as we offer reparations and equity, just make sure you preserve yourself and love on yourself and give yourself compassion. Just tell yourself today, I'm healing, and if that's all you're doing today, healing, or if today all you did was pull yourself up from a dark place, I congratulate you, I love you, and I want to love on you.
Excuse me.
And lastly, the concept of depression and suicide. I just need to take the mask off. I don't want to be in society right now. I need to take my mask off. I need to hide. I don't want to be on social media. I'm tired of putting up these thoughts. But yeah, just walk away knowing that sometimes there are powers and the devil's challenging us. I just want to add that. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, Patrick, for being quick, swift, and very informative, man. Thank you. You made a lot of good points, and I appreciate you a lot. Brother Dondre?
Man, first of all, my brother, love you so much. All the kings and queens in the room. This is an extremely powerful conversation. There are so many of us that suffer from having thoughts about suicide, and there's so much shame and huge stigmas that are attached to it. So I'm so thankful that you guys are having this conversation because it's so needed. Let me start by saying we are only good at things that we're instructed to do. I hosted a talk where talking about the subject was, why does he do that? And just talking about the things that we as males and as men do. And as you know, who've been following me, I talk about the difference between being male versus being a man. Every man that you meet is a male, but not every male that you meet is a man. Males look to be served, while men look to be of service. If no one ever teaches you that your assignment as a man is to be a servant, then you should simply remain a male who's looking to serve himself. Right? So in my book, Male versus Man, I'm offering information and instruction on how to matriculate into manhood. Why is that important? Because everything that we do in our life that we become good at it through information, instruction, and accountability. From the time that we are young boys, we are given the information and instruction that vulnerability is weakness. Big boys don't cry. Men don't cry. Don't you get, well, I feel like this hurt me. Hurt you? That didn't hurt. You might get hit again. Just so that you have the opportunity to say or to prove that you haven't been hurt. When an uncle or a big brother punches you directly in the chest and says to you, that doesn't hurt. And so now you have to chime in. It's a call to action. Yeah, that didn't hurt. Yeah, that didn't hurt. So from very early on, we have been instructed and informed about how to mask our feelings. There was a point earlier where we talked about, being strong. Say, oh my, all of that, and I just love how strong you are. When someone compliments us about us being strong, what that really translates into is you're really good at masking your pain. And so that kind of affirmation, even though it's a false sense of what that really means, most of us love the greatest gift that you can give anyone is the gift of affirmation. So even in this, even though when it's false, when someone says, "Oh my gosh, I love how strong you are," now as males that haven't matriculated into manhood, we go, "Oh, that's what this is," because most of us are taught that manhood is masculinity and sexuality. We're taught that. Look how many women I've slept with. See what kind of man I am? I've slept with 50 women. See what kind of man I am? Or my masculinity. Look how much I bench press. See what kind of man I am? And the truth of the matter is this. Life gets extremely difficult. And it gets really heavy to bear the burden of it when we don't know what our assignment is. When we don't know what our assignment in life is, then we're out of alignment. And every man on the face of this earth has been put here to be a servant to the women and children in his life and to be a loving and firm accountability partner to his brother for the sake of his growth in manhood. But again, if he never teaches that, we begin to question, why am I here? I've coached a bunch of brothers who are very accomplished in their chosen fields. There's a brother who, songwriter, his catalog sold for over $120 million. Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, infidelity in his marriage. And I simply asked him a question when we first started working together. I said, "Do you consider yourself to be successful?" And he said, "Yes." He's won 8 Grammys. He said, "Do you consider me to be successful?" And I said, "Well, you're disconnected from your wife. She wants to divorce you. Your children don't trust you, right? They don't come to you when they're in need. So no, I would have to say that you are unsuccessful as a man. You are an accomplished musician, but you're unsuccessful as a man." And that was the first time he had ever heard that in his life. So all of that goes back to the point of we're only good at the things that we receive information and instruction about. And when we don't know what our purpose is, we use a great deal of things to distract us from not knowing what that purpose is. Drugs, alcohol, women, jewelry, clothes, shoes, all of those things. And I would even venture to say that my brother Game would probably have the testimony that will back this part of it up, just like my testimony matches the same thing, which is all of the things that I've done in my career are phenomenal, but they will pale in comparison to the things that I contribute as a man to my family and to society. So to all of my brothers who are listening to this, I want to give us permission to not be okay, to instruct ourselves to go to another brother every single day and say, "Hey, if I'm feeling this way and I'm not okay, I need to be able to put that at your feet and have you take care of it with me, with love, so that we begin to reprogram ourselves into knowing that it's okay for us to not be okay."
Right.
Hey, I got a question, Dondre.
Yes, sir.
So when you say that, I'm prior service myself, so I've dealt with a lot of people, you know, myself with suicidal thoughts, whether it's been deployed or just regular day to day. And I just came in the room, and I've been listening, you know what I'm saying? I just want to, I hear the words, I hear everybody saying, I love it, you know what I'm saying? I had a question to you about, when you say that you got to be able to put that at somebody's feet, and they have to be able to handle that. Don't you think that possibly, now I'm just my opinion, that they have to have went through some of the things that you're putting at their feet, or have a capacity to handle what you're putting at their feet? Because some people can't handle that, you know what I'm saying? So like, if they never been through it or know how to handle it, they can make it a lot worse. If you just give it to them, they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to handle it." You know what I'm saying? They just give out something just out of love. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to try to have somebody out of love, but sometimes they need somebody to know that they're just not alone going through what they're going through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to your point, there are some people who do have the capacity to be able to handle what it is that you're going through. When I say handle, I mean to
to be a support and an advocate for what it is that you're going through. So we don't necessarily have to go through or have gone through everything that you're suffering from, but there are some things, to your point, where if you are a veteran, those are very specialized circumstances, right? So if you came to me as a brother and you said, I don't know how to deal with the fact that I lost one of my best friends, watching him lose his life by stepping on a landmine, right? Now, I, as a brother, will love you and support you and say to you, oh my goodness, my brother, I can't even imagine what that must be like. But I can imagine the kind of pain that you might be going through because I lost a good friend of mine at the hands of a shooting when I was 15 years old. And that kind of pain devastated me. So while I don't know exactly how you feel, I can empathize with what you're feeling because I've experienced traumatic loss. And through talking through that, if you still feel like, man, there's something on me that I just can't get to the other side of, then that's when we as brothers have to support ourselves and say, yo, bro,
right.
There's no shame in you going to a mental health care professional so that you can get the tools that you need to get to the other side of this. And because we never get over that kind of pain, we just learn how to get through that kind of pain.
Some lake effects. I couldn't agree. That's. I just want to see how you felt about that because that's you actually hit it on the head. Actually, I learned that from therapy. And I don't really go to therapy much often ever with like a professional. I talk to like my other military friends because, like you said, it don't get easier. You know what I'm saying? Pain. How I say, like, pain never stops. Time heals all. You know what I'm saying? It may even mask the pain, but you still have to get better deal with it.
That may be the worst saying in the world, that time heals all wounds. I can't stand when I hear that saying. Oh, don't worry about it, time heals all wounds. If I cut you and you were bleeding in the hospital, and I just said to you, bro, don't worry about it, just give it a second. Time will heal all wounds. It doesn't work that way. Wow. Diligent work begins to put you on a path where you can begin to heal. So the idea is that we have to address our traumas. That if I cut you, we have to address your trauma. If we don't address your trauma and we simply say time heals all wounds, you are going to bleed out. So we deal with our physical
time does not heal all
the way we're
wounds.
supposed to, but somehow we think, because again, we've been sold the bill of goods that because we're men, that we're this masculine creature that can endure all of those traumas, and if we just give it a second, we'll be all right and get to the other side. It never works that way. You are either going to destroy yourself or destroy other people in the process of you not addressing your traumas.
Makes sense.
You preach, my dog. Appreciate you.
I love you, Brother Lee.
Love you too, dog.
Perfectly said.
If I squeeze one more quick thing in there, I have a question for DeAndre.
Oh, you have a question for DeAndre? Yes, go ahead.
I can't. Go ahead, my brother. Yeah, my apologies. So I'm gonna keep it short. I don't want to be too long with it, but I'm in this situation where I'm 22 years old right now. I'm expecting, and I have a little brother, right? So I'm trying to figure out exactly how to handle all the things that I've endured and went through in my life, because I was the oldest brother. So I've suppressed a lot of stuff that I went through, and I didn't start to realize this until, these past couple months after going through a breakup out of a serious relationship and, some other things that started to result in, smoking a lot, and kind of just phasing a lot of things out of my life, trying to close my eyes to a lot of things and just suppress everything I was feeling. And, I'm looking now and I'm like, okay, I don't know what my father went through because he also suffered a lot of things in life. He's emotionally unstable as a young adult, as a man, so on and so forth. He's now currently locked up and he's about to be 50.
Wow.
I have a 16-year-old little brother who, he doesn't necessarily have any issues. He also didn't experience as much as I might have experienced, but suppresses things as well. I'm not sure how to get
get to him and kind of try to support him the way he needs and try to express to him, like, I'm here for you. And just give him an open heart. Figure out how to.
Hey, pause.
If you're not speaking to
I think somebody was speaking. Hey, and again, bro, is it Yasin? Hey, Yasin, real quick, man, I'm gonna let you finish. You asking Brother Dondre, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have like a dope answer for you as well. I just want to chime in because you raised my antennas with that. I think that the easiest way to get and again, I have sons, right? 17 and 13. And the easiest way, even though I'm their father, right, and he should confide in me about everything, naturally, organically. It doesn't always happen that way. So when I know that, and I can tell my kids, and I'm pretty sure you know your little brother very well. When you want to talk to him or want to pull things out or want him to be forthcoming with information that might be rendering him helpless, I want to say that you use yourself as an example and ask him, can you talk to him, right? And of course, you're the bigger brother, you're a grown man, and you know a little bit more how to handle your emotions than he do, being that he's your younger brother and hasn't been alive as you have and haven't obviously hasn't been through as much as you have. I think that you just put yourself lay your cards on the table for him and ask him, for help. So that way he can see it from the other side, and then he will probably be more inclined to being open with you, because again, man, we even though you are the brother, even though I am the father, a lot of times, man, we just they like my sons might think that they don't want that, they might look at me like I'm a superhero and don't want to be, like a bitch ass son, or something like that. So I always want to talk to my kids.
That makes sense.
On the cutting first, you know what I'm saying?
How would they talk to? He came about it.
Brother G, it makes a phenomenal point. Game makes a phenomenal point as always. I often tell folks that I am the leader of my house. Not because I tell people what to do, but because I show people what to do. Right? So I'm constantly the model that everyone in my house, including my children and including my wife, can mirror. So the best way for you to teach your little brother vulnerability and being able to speak about some of the things that are happening to him as a result of your father being in those circumstances is you have to become the model that he can mirror. You sit him down, as Brother Game said, sit him down and begin to talk to him about how the disconnect between you and your father hurt you. The nights where you stood up late at night and cried yourself to sleep. Because you know how many times, bro, it breaks my heart even thinking about it, man, because my father was in and out of jail for most of my adolescence.
Oof.
It breaks my heart because
we're going to close out after.
There were times in growing up in Brooklyn and having to fight every single day that I just needed to be able to get a hug from my father.
Wow.
And they hear my father say, I love you.
Yeah.
I didn't hear my father say,
do you want to build a
I love you. Until I was 46 years old, bro.
Oh.
Like, you can hear it in my voice
40.
how painful an experience that is. So, to say that time heals all wounds, oh yeah? So I was still 46 years old. I'm 51 right now, and it's still painful to reflect on the disconnect between me and my father, to reflect on the pain that he got, not getting the messaging that he needed to get from his father. So what I really want you to do is, I want you to hug on and love on your little brother and share with him all the times that the disconnect between you and your father ripped your heart out.
Like he's scared
and
as
give
hell.
him your tears. Give him that vulnerability so that he feels safe to give it back to you, bro. That's how we begin to triage each other.
And the soul is,
marketing.
Hey man, look, it's so, and I just want to pour into you for a second.
So the white people can think the black people will be there.
But man, You got a little brother. You about to bring a child into the world, man. I want to pour into you with my brother Dondre. It's the type of things that we do. Man, look, man, you are a beautiful soul, brother. And there was a time in my life where even saying that would make my skin crawl because I would be feeling or hearing my father's, telling me, nigga, that's gay. Don't act like a bitch. And it's crazy that me and Dondre's past and our upbringing. And then our father, our fathers loved us like that, man. My dad, it wasn't until my dad died in 2018, January, man, from a heart attack, died with his heart attack pills in his hand, couldn't get it, couldn't get it open and pop one into his mouth to bring him back. And that's how he died on the floor. And I'm visual, man. So for me to have seen that and known what type of man he was, I know that in that moment that his pride, all that shit and all that, the things that he tried to make me and wanted me to be, I know that in that moment, like he was vulnerable and he wished and he had regrets and all of that shit. And that hurts my heart for my father, man. And I don't mind being vulnerable in a room full of men or women or kings and queens alike to be able to, if it's going to help you and your little brothers, like relationship flourish and make him a stronger man, but a different kind, not the, hey, you can't cry or you can't be this or no, that's some bitch shit or like fuck all that, man. I'm just
fuck all that.
Take control of the room real quick and just tell all men, man, everybody in here, man, like we gotta stop that shit. We gotta be a different kind of show a different kind of strength. And for the women in here, and most of you women that have spoken very, very, very well and have helped. Like Brother Rome said, like some of the, most of the solutions are coming from women. That lets me know that women care. And then for the women who are listening to those women, you got to understand sometimes when you get these men and, we prejudge them or we give up on them too early. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for men to say, let them do you dirty or wrong, because that's a different type of man, physically and emotionally abusive men. I'm not saying endure that or tolerate that. And what I'm saying is that some of these brothers, the good ones, there's good deep down inside, but we can't see it because, like Patrick said, there's a mask on top of the bullshit. We wear it like a Halloween costume. 366 days of the leap year, all year, man, and that shit is terrible. And at the end of life, all we have left is regrets because we didn't, take the opportunities that we had to just disband and fade this shit away. It's so important that we understand this. I done been in a corner by myself at the pinnacle of my career, worth $40 and $50 million at 28 years old, and felt suicidal and sat with my Glock in my hand, thinking about blowing my brains out. And I only had one or two children at that time. So, man, I know people that are close to being billionaires and billionaires that where money, like money ain't a thing. Like it's not that. These people are doing worse than regular motherfuckers. Like I got an uncle at the who works at the post office. This nigga the happiest nigga on earth. And then I have a fucking billionaire friend that can't figure it out. Just can't figure it out. And it's because of this childhood trauma. It's because of this tough love.
Everybody needs therapy.
Put on us for whatever reason. Therapy. My daddy was hard as shit. Tell you that what the lesson was in that, right? And not to even throw my brothers under the bus or nothing like that, but out of all of my siblings, all of my brothers, I am the most successful. I'm not saying this to say anything about finances. I'm saying that where I am at 40 years old and where they are at 45 and 46, I'm better off emotionally. I'm stronger. I'm physically bigger. I'm physically stronger. I'm taller. And so the one, the little boy that they call faggot and bitch and mama's boy is the strongest nigga in the family. And they can't fuck with me on no level, not intellectually, not hood, not strength. Niggas can't lift more weights than me. They can't parent how I parent. And again, at the end of the day, I am successful because I took my talent and ran with it. So even in building, structure for my family and financial stability for my family and, my children and grandchildren and just my, like generational wealth. Like I'm on top of all that shit. So everything that my dad did to, belittle me in front of my brothers and all that shit. I got two dead brothers that died in the streets gangbanging, both shot. One of them died in my arms. Two brothers, them niggas is dead trying to impress my dad and trying to be more tough and be more like him. Because like Dondre's father, my dad was in and out of prison. And people don't understand how fucking emotionally fucked up you are when you do not have this system of strength in your life. And so all of the strength that I have, the man that I am today, that shit is because my grandmother gave a fuck, and because my mama is just like my daddy was strong. My mama was strong, but she loved me different. My mama told me, she loved me, and she went out and worked 8 fucking jobs. And my daddy had money; he was giving her money, but my mama was the type of woman that wanted to be independent. So again, I thank all of these queens on the stage, and for the queens who don't even know that they have power, this superpower of support and care that men need. We come to y'all broken as fuck, and it's not because of the last chick or the relationship. No, it comes from our childhood. So when we get to talking about solutions, what can we do? First, we got to pour into these babies, right? Because I'm 40 years old, and there's parts of me that will never be fixed, no matter what we talk about or what you say. Things that exist in me, and I will never be able to get them out of me. I know better, right? I'm 40 years old, and I want to live righteously, and I want to make the type of the words I'm looking for, man. I want to make good in life with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I want to make good in life for everybody, so I cannot allow the devil or these demonic thoughts or these things to exist anymore. Strong the entire time, but I didn't know it until certain things happened positively in my life and interactions and relationships with people like Dondre and even Clubhouse, man. I can't even say that I was healed right before Clubhouse. I've been on this fucking app for 2 months, and I am so much stronger than I was 2 months ago. And it's crazy that this app and this social interaction has done it for me. And again, I apologize if I'm taking over the room, but this is a platform that I created for this exact type thing. And today, this is not my topic. This is Gigi's topic. But man, it's about us, and for her being, putting herself to the side, and and giving it to us males, and wanting to be a black woman and push us to be better black men. That shit is important. So again,
that's huge.
Yo, brother Yasin, man. Brother Yasin, I'm not going through nothing. I'm not going through nothing. You're not going through nothing. I haven't been through Dondre, Pastor Jeremiah, Pastor Hopgood, my brother Meek, Leak, everybody on this platform that is a man we've all been in these dark fucking spaces, and we only had ourselves because we're taught to think that we don't have nobody but ourselves. Be a man, hold your chin up, don't cry. That's some bitch shit. You acting like a faggot. I remember like 6 months ago when one of my homies told me I love you, and I looked at the text like, nigga, you gay. And I didn't say it to him, but I felt like that. And so for that to be 6 months ago, and for me to be walking on this journey I am now, and my truth, and my power, my transparency, my vulnerability, I feel like I'm a man that can command the room and make sure that we all as brothers stop and put our hands on each other, touch each other, ask these questions, strangers or stranger not, brothers or brothers not. We are men, and this shit is a problem, and it needs to cease because young black children are fucking. And shit ain't fair. Especially at being on my platform. I'm seeing kids kill each other over Instagram shit. It's fucking stupid. To be like, truth be told, me and 50, my fucking arch nemesis, who at one time we used to share champagne glasses and share spaces and laugh and hug each other and give money together, fucking turned into arch enemies, right? And we could have, for sure, we were one fucking bullet curve to the right or the left from being Tupac and Biggie. And at 41 years old, I understand it. I know it. I hate to see the process repeating. I try to touch these young dudes for the ones that will listen. Some will not, and it will persist. But if we can just fucking turn the corner and make somebody, heal somebody, fix it for somebody, man. And like Yasin's little brother, because he is the grown man. And like me, have broken pieces that can't be repaired. Like we gotta pour it into these children. So when people start asking for solutions, right, for a 51-year-old Drake, 1-year-old game, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's bullshit. Time will heal everything. That's bullshit. We gotta fucking stop and think and focus on the children. That is where it is. Because in 30 years, Dondre will be 80. In 30 years, I'll be 70. And so it's about his sons. And it's about my sons. And it's about Yasin's little brother. So if we're going to talk, let's fucking talk. But let's hold ourselves accountable as men, man. Because I'm tired of fucking being tough in a room full of niggas feeling like I got to look at you and you got to look at me until a point to we ask each other, nigga, what you looking at? Like, nigga, that's what's gay, nigga. Right. That's what's gay.
Yo, great program.
Me and my friends, we don't get down like that no more. I talk to Fredo, I talk to Mike, I talk to Leek, I talk to Meek. We tell each other I love you. My brother Shaggy, we smoke together. We hug with the full hugs. We hug like your grandfather will hug you.
and we grown men. And it don't matter if we get that fucking close, man. I can feel his soul, he can feel mine. We fucking been struggling with this shit since I don't know the beginning.
That's the way it should be right there.
And for this shit to still be a problem in current day is a problem for me. And I'm starting to disband those problems every day. And that's why we homes like this.
And you're turning a negative into a positive. A negative into a positive.
Hey man, they went ham. They hot.
Yo, gang, fam. First off, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you're saying is 100% factual. You know, I've grown several bonds just with this app in general. You know, extending arms and speaking to men that have been through war, not only in their mind and their hearts and their communities, with their families, with themselves. And I think that for me, it's almost like I'm finding my tribe. You know, because people are really exposed to what's around me. And what I've realized is that, you know, I've been in spaces with the game, you know, several times, but there was never a space to like get to know each other, right? Like,
yeah, we can't, we don't. So,
walk up to him, you know, at a strip club and be like, "Yo, how's your heart feeling right now?" You dig what I'm saying? And as crazy as it seems, it's like in this opportunity, we get to see that people are just people, and we all just trying to work through the same demons every single day. There's shit that I can't take back. I made mistakes, you know, but I'm here to rectify those things through my children and through everybody that I touch. And I want to be around and commend the men that do that work, because it's not easy to do when you're actively dealing with trauma and drama and pain on a level that a lot of people don't make it through. When you see people die and you have survivor's remorse and you think, yo, that could have been me, that should have been me. I could have been buried under the jail. You dig what I'm saying? Because of decisions I made in my youth. And I think that everything that you're saying and everything that the men on the panel have been saying, we need to actively support each other in a way that's louder than the bullshit. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we need to come together in a way that's more vibrant, that's brighter than the sun. When you look at it, it's like, yo, those men love each other. Those men love me. And you allowed to love yourself. And for any man going through that shit, man, you valid. We did a room this morning about why men cry. And I had to get honest early in the morning with myself that I don't really give my full attention to my emotions like maybe I should. You know, I found myself, you know, getting caught up in trying to save face for no reason at all. And I've struggled with that. Am I a good father for my children? Because I don't show a certain level of emotion with my kids, and they're the most important people in my life. But I feel that, you know, I always feel like I have to be strong for them. And what I'm realizing, you know, through this shit is that, you know, and I hug them every day and I tell them positive affirmations every day. But, you know, that shit's about to turn up to 5,000 because they need it too. And we deserve to be those men that we didn't have in our lives. We deserve to be those men that didn't show us that love and be the backbone for us. Because when Jason said his grandmother was there and his mother was there, yo, like, my grandmother raised me. Like, that woman breathed life into my situation when I really wasn't in a place to give a fuck about myself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know who this resonates with, and I don't want to ramble, but I love y'all. You know, we're going to get through this shit together 100%.
Love you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. We do want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak, and I know that there were a lot of people on the list, so I am going to pass the mic to Pastor Jeremiah Jones, and then after that, if we can hear from Siggy. Pastor, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Blessings and peace, everybody. Okay. Glad to be on again with you guys, Gang, Gigi, Keisha, everyone that's been partaking in this great, powerful conversation, from the kings and queens, everyone old and young. I am so overwhelmed, overjoyed, and ecstatic in my heart, and thinking just to hear this conversation is taking place, such a critical time of our lives where we're all adjusting and we're really being vulnerable in this moment. So I just pray that this remains a safe place, that everybody can feel the respect and love that's coming through. Of course, I'm going to speak just to the truth of who I am. I am Pastor Jeremiah Jones, and I always want to bring a spiritual perspective, but a real, raw, relevant experience as well. I'm the baby of 8, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I currently reside in Oklahoma City, but I had to deal with this particular death, suicide, attempts throughout my whole upbringing, being in the turf war, gang war, vice lords, gangster disciples, in that capacity in Southside Chicago. So I'm a statistic that made it out. I have lost the first funeral that I can believe I remember going to, and when I accepted my call, quote unquote, ministry to serve God's people, as I had to preach my best friend Snuggles' funeral. He was 12 years old, and he took his own life. He called me right before it happened, and I wish I knew then what I know now. He called me right before it happened, and he overheard a conversation, overheard an argument of his, and how his father and mother were arguing over him being in existence, and the father felt trapped and so forth and so have you by the pregnancy and yada yada yada, and I never should have been here, and by you stringing this boy up on me all these years you've been using me, yada yada yada. And he just said, bro, I can't take it no more, I'm out of here. And I'm not thinking death.
Wow.
But that's what he did. And so I had to live through that traumatic experience from 12 years old, knowing that my best friend killed himself because of an inadequate time to have a conversation or thought what he heard just broke him down. So I had to struggle through that. Now, of course, you hear all the homies getting killed on the street, bad drug deals and just drive-bys and all that kind of stuff. So all these years have mounted up to people dying around and having to try to muster through how do you handle the weight of losing friends and death. So the only way I've known how to operate is to operate in the spiritual world within church. And so as I began to come on, as Nikki tagged me, and big ups to Nikki too, tagged me in the conversation, I got off on a Zoom and I came in, I just began to hear. And as I saw the topic, I was like, oh, this is good. This is deep. This is going to hit home. So I began to pray, Lord, what can I share? What value can I bring to this conversation that'll help them see your love, your life towards them? And in that whole observation of my prayer time that I just began to have, he took me back to my struggle of overcoming suicide thoughts. I kind of gave the story on another platform of something similar. My wife was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer 8 years ago. And while she was pregnant, 7 months pregnant with my baby girl, and I remember because my heart and soul is to help God's people, to help just be good, help bring people overcome. I'm a life coach and all the whole things, and spiritual leader, mentor. And in me doing this, I began to go down a different path, being faithful to church, being faithful to God, working for things, and began to see out of all the people I pray for all the people I pray for, why is it that my prayers for my own family ain't getting answered? Why is it that I'm in the worst scenario that I had to be in? And the reality of it is, father-in-law, who was a deacon at my church, he died right before my eyes. I was the last one to have a conversation with him. And here it is, again, experience that taken over my life called death has made me feel in a low place. Like I can't get a prayer through. It's not being answered. Nobody's understanding. And me as a pastor, I better not say that I'm weak, right? Because I'm supposed to be the one to help everybody else get to their point of strength, get through their hard times. And here it is. I can't cry out or really speak to myself. And I'll never forget in this particular moment. I was so devastated. I was so weak because the doctor had a conversation with me and says, I need you to choose, watch the way of this, your wife or your daughter from this surgery. Because I don't know if we can save both of them. So I need you to choose your wife or your daughter. I'm still going through the process of trying to get through all the pain and hurt that I did not resolve, and I couldn't talk to nobody about because nobody wants to see the person that's so strongest at their most weakest point. And so I had to come to a point, in fact, to say, yo, I have nothing left to give. And me, myself, the preacher, the one that stands in front of the people all the time and preach faith, preach peace, preach joy, preach love, preach forgiveness, is now battling with something that I never knew how hard it would fight me personally. So in that moment, I decided, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going ahead and get on I-35 and just hit it, gun it in the rain, do what I got to do, because I couldn't take it all. I didn't understand why I was in this particular situation, and nobody prepared me for this.
Thank you for therapy.
But then I have to go back to what was lived before me. What my father showed me was to trust God in everything.
God
In that
first.
whole conversation, God brought me to this particular story in the Bible that spoke volumes to me, that helped me realize that I have a place that I can go to him. In Mark chapter number 5 talks about a man who had issues he was dealing with. The Bible says that this man had an unclean spirit. And if I can just entertain you with this, it's not a sermon, I promise you it's not, but it's something that I take to myself that always helped me out. It says the man had an unclean spirit. So an unclean spirit is basically speaking to the internal irregularities. What's your thinkings? What's the words that are being spoken into your life? What's the thought process that you are having and taking in place that you don't have nobody to check that against? So he has some spiritual and internal irregularities. And the Bible says he was so unclean that he had his dwellings, his external places, his locations was the tubes. I'm sorry. Was the tubes.
Gonna get you out. I'm gonna delete it because it's still in here.
Somebody in
was the tombs. Was an external location. The Bible said he dwelt among the tombs. He lived in dead surroundings. So although he was living, everything he was experiencing around him was already dead. And sometimes in our life, issues come up that we don't even have a feeling for. We don't even connect to. Right? We don't even have a emotional existence by it because it's just, I'm good with this. Like I said, in that capacity, he looked at the locations he was around. And then if you further read the story, Mark chapter 5, it says the wrong people was around him. And what they were trying to do, they were trying to bind him. They were trying to lock him down. They were trying to put scenarios on him, stipulations on him, labels on him, to where he had the wrong people underappreciating his existence. And just like some of us, we got thrown wrong people in our lives that don't value our existence. So we feed into the negative mindset to where we begin to have wrong actions. What was his wrong actions? He began to cut himself with stones. He began to cut himself with rocks and stones, trying to kill himself. He had such anger in him. In daytime, he was cool. At nighttime, he was crying out. He was in a pattern, stuck in a pattern to do things to kind of appease what he's going through, not really getting the strength that he needs, not really getting the therapeuticness that he needs, not even getting having the conversation that he need to have. But because of the environment that he's around, because of the things that is on his life, he's in a position and place in his life to where he now has to cause a moment of reality. The Bible said it got so bad to where he was like, I'm done. Gets to a point to where Jesus, and just so happened, Jesus and his disciples get off the ship and they come by him and they see this man. And when they see this man, it now comes to a point to where he goes and worships him or calls upon him afar off. What does all this have to do with me? Because when you have the solution that's needed, you got to see something. The Bible says he sees Jesus afar off and he goes and runs and worships him and he has a conversation. And in the conversation when he has it, he begins to have the right connections. So as we progressively move forward and deal with these issues of what's going on, he identifies in the conversation with Jesus that I got some issues. I need help in it. And see, it takes the right people around you to have the right conversations to lift you up. It takes the right people around you to understand they may not have all the answers, but they have a connection to the one who has the answer for you. And a lot of us, men, we are ashamed to deal with and say we got problems because we don't know if the person who we're talking to really got the solution. When really the bravery part of it is you explaining and exposing that I got a problem. And a lot of us, we got problems we never dealt with. I'm going to speak to myself. I have problems I didn't deal with. But until I have my own conversation with Jesus, until I connected him in the right relationship in the right way, and to entrust him with the depthness of my problems, he led me to the right people. So you got to surround yourself with the right people and the right conversations to feed your life and not the thought of your death. To feed your quality of your being, because your past experience is to benefit somebody else's personal journey right now.
Man, you
what
better
I've
say
been
it.
through, what I had to survive, the tears I had to cry, all the pain that was in my heart, all the things that
The
I went
story
through,
that I tell somebody else
I
to
didn't
get them
understand
through
it then, but right now, I believe it's going to connect to somebody that's listening to me. My
Amen.
experience is to benefit your life journey. There's some pains we've been in. There's some times we want to cry. There were some things that I literally had to overcome. I literally had to get through a place of darkness. I had to understand that there was strength in saying I need help. See, one of the strongest statements to me in my life, and this is just Jeremiah Michael Jones personally, one of the strongest statements ever any person can say is, I need help. Can you help me? That's not mean you weak. That means you're strong. Every day, I hug my son. Every day, I hug my daughters. I kiss them. I let them know, yo, Daddy loves you. I didn't get as much as what they get now. But I know what it felt like when I did hear it. It made me feel so much more empowered, so much more strong. What we got to do now in this community, this man, he didn't know who Jesus was for the disciples. But God designed pattern would show up at the tomb. People looked at the label today and saw get into this room, not knowing that this will be the conversation that will begin their healing. This will be the conversation that will begin to connect a community of people who will build them up to be who they're supposed to be. Long story short, the man tries to leave and say, Jesus, let me go with you. Jesus denied him and said, no, I need you to go back to the same people who undervalued you. I need you to go back to the same people who overlooked you. I need you to go back and share with them your experience of how you overcame suicide, of how you overcame debt, how you overcame generational curse. I need you to go back and share your story in the boldness, because they knew you when you was crazy. They knew you when you didn't have nothing. They knew you when you were literally in a point to where nobody wanted to be around you. Now I need you to go back and show them and tell them what experience you had with the Most High, with connecting with the right spirit, with connecting with the right conversation, with getting yourself in the right surroundings that changed your life. Ooh. So that's when we pay it forward. That's when we have these conversations. That's why the game has to come up with these moments to where others can heal. And it takes someone who's been through it, who's going to be real with it, like Game and Gigi, to set up these conversations, because the world needs it. It's not just one culture, not one race. The world needs it. And right now, God is using these platforms, these conversations, to provide so much healing to so many other people, because there are bold people like you and I that ain't afraid to tell the truth, keep it 100 about what we've been through, ups and downs, highs and lows, ins and outs. Because we have something called buoyancy, and that's the ability. So my beloved brothers, my beloved sisters, my beloved kings and queens, never stop talking. Ask God, surround me with the greater surroundings. My little queen sister that lost her friend today, man, my heart goes out to you. The moment I heard it, I began to pray that God would just send angels of comfort and strength to you. I want you to cry. I want you to cry. I want you to cry. I want you to process through this. Don't fight it. Don't say I'm strong in this. No, be weak, because I found out, according to the word of the Lord, is God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. So I just wanted to thank you again for this time and this opportunity to share with you my heart, what God placed in my heart for somebody else. Make sure you have the right surroundings, the right people around, have the right conversations, and you'll see the right reactions and manifestations in your life. I share. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you so much. Pass the offering, please.
Pass the offering.
Thank you.
Reverend Wright.
To this conversation. We truly appreciate it, Pastor Jeremiah. Thank you. You left us with a lot. You left us with a lot of words, things that we can actually take outside, the terminology we can take outside to our brothers, our uncles. Again, this is focused on male suicidal prevention. So I thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you so much, King. Siggy, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna hand the mic to you now.
Thank you guys for having me up here. Shout out to Ray for bringing me to this room and bringing me up. I could respond, me growing up back, in Africa. So most of the stuff the game talked about, I grew up in a house that had people who were very successful, and, me being who I am and me trying to, introduce more stuff into myself in the world and stuff. People wanted me to go their directions, Actually, I grew up in the house with my mom and dad, but my dad was not always there because he was a busy man, He had these things going on. And me knowing my dad, he input like a kind of like spirit in me, like a fear. Because, I was always getting, tossed around, he like beat up, whenever I do something wrong, like whenever I, deviate, I get ass whooping and stuff. So whenever I do my own step, and I'm trying to ask for help. I can't ask for help because, they're going to, keep me around or, do something bad to me. And whenever I try to turn towards my mom, I don't see my mom because she was a banker for 20 years. I never saw her. I wake up every morning, I don't see my mom. I go to bed so I never see my mom. I thought I never see nobody, And when I try to deviate to the people around my house, like my uncles, my aunties and stuff.
I had to pop out of that one. Hey man, this is the conversations that need to be talked about and had on an ongoing basis. This was so amazing. I didn't imagine to be sitting here for 2 hours, actually just all in thrill. I got some other stuff that I got to get done, but hey, you don't get no better than that. People actually being honest, forefront, and actually talking about their mental health, trying to come up with solutions. Teamwork make the dream work. You know what I'm saying? Just it's a struggle that we all struggle with, and everybody can't afford those sessions. So if you two got to sue me or something for something ever, I ain't got no money. I don't get paid for none of this shit. I just spread the awareness because guess what? I pay for my therapy. But when you got platforms around where you can just hear that you're not the only one, you might not be able to. That's a step because, you get the first step because it's just hearing that there are other people going through the same fucked up issues or even more fucked up issues like the girl Mackenzie today. That's me. My name is Mackenzie. If you look at this page, Mac Lane, that's me. Lost a friend today. Shit gets deep. Shit is real. Mental health is very pertinent. So that was the game of Gigi's platform. It's amazing. It is just amazing to know there's that many people out there that just struggle with mental health. I mean, they just talk about it.
So after then,
Go back to the room. How many people in this room right now? I'm gonna tell you before I leave.
People pointing fingers at me.
446 people in this room right now talking about mental health, male suicide prevention.
What's my education? Because I
400 people.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Like I ain't gonna do something you guys want me to do.
At 6 o'clock, in 1 minute, a new show's coming on.
I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And from there,
are men afraid to talk about mental health?
Level, bigger than me, I was ending up in trouble and stuff. Fighting, injuring myself. Like doing crazy ass stuff. So them sending me back to the boarding school, thinking that's going to make me be a better person. It made me worse because
it's amazing. I'm telling you, they got so many bomb shows.
The time I was meant to spend with my father.
Black men
to go spend with strangers and other people. So I was moving from houses to houses. I was moving from places to.
I had to exit out of here. Are black men ashamed to talk about mental health? That's a whole nother group that's about to start. A whole nother group to start at 6 o'clock. We ain't got no problem. Hey, mental health is something. It's black men's mental health attack. Why should they open up emotionally in public? Because you bottle all that shit in, you get fucked up. Yeah, retweet it, hoop through it. Yeah, I got y'all. We all over this. Follow back. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta talk about it. Another room. Or men and mental health room. What the hell is that?
I know it's late out there, so I know you want rolling. I got my brother Adrian on stage with us. Hey, Adrian.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man.
Doing good. I just see anytime I try to get off of this room stuff.
Tor, he had a conversation he wanted to talk about tonight, so the floor to him.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Do we want to get started straight away, or did you want to wait a couple minutes to let people join? How you feeling?
Oh, it's up to you, man. Whatever you thinking is, hey, like I told you, you leading, man. We just in the passenger seat, following your lead, man.
It's all good with me. So thank you everyone for joining today. I know we've got a lot of people from the US on the call with me today. As you can probably tell from my accent, I myself are from London.
From London.
And I actually previously did a study over here in the UK with the British Youth Council in regards to mental health. So one thing I noticed when I was conducting that study and just learning about mental health in general is that there's a disproportionate rate of suicide attributed to men, for one.
They must be mental
And
suicide.
something else I've just known from my own experience as a black man growing up is that black men, we don't really open up about mental health.
Crazy.
Now, the thing about that,
I mean, I guess forever. This is a whole new group. It's not the gang group no more.
Just say, okay, well, black men should just start opening up more, and that will solve the
This is
problem.
a lot group. Let me get out of this group right now.
To get help and stop suicide rates and so on.
But damn,
I think it often goes ignored.
I gotta get out of these rooms real quick. It's just like, are you serious? It's like mental health day or something. What's today? Women in business. Women in power is not a catchphrase. Oh, wow. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna follow that group. Okay, but it's a lot of stuff. Mental health. Mac Lang, we out. Got things to do. But hey, it's a lot of places where you can find more information. So subscribe, follow. It's not too late.